My dear sweet friends, I have missed you. We are gonna try a new foundation today, and I've actually already tried it once and I was pretty excited about how it went. So I want to show it to you guys because we have a $3 off coupon for this specific foundation that we can use this weekend on the Maybelline buy 2 get 5 promotion at CVS. So I thought that it would be good to show you guys some options for this week's deals. I also have this amazing e.l.f. highlighting and blush palette that I can't wait to show you. So let's get started. This foundation, and this is the Maybelline New York 24-hour, okay, it doesn't say the actual, like, line name on here, but this is their full coverage foundation. It's a new foundation, and they are not fucking kidding. So because this is such a full coverage foundation, I am going to do something I don't normally do, and that is use a primer. This is the IT Cosmetics Feel the Moment Anti-Aging Ultra Hydrating Sensory Awakening Primer Serum.
It has caviar extract, hydrolyzed collagen, peptides, hyaluronic acid, vitamins A, C, and E, argan, jojoba, jojoba, how do you say that? Avocado, and deep ocean water.
I am gonna go ahead and call bullshit on that last one. I'm just gonna pump a little little bit. I've had this stuff for 2 years for a reason. I should probably replace it soon. Oh, it smells so good though. Ooh, the light just changed a lot. Is my ring light dying? Or is that outside? What's happening? Usually I would like kind of press it in. I don't know if that actually does anything, but it feels like it does. And as you can see, I've already got my eyebrows on because that's just kind of what I do after I wash my face and moisturize in the morning. Hey, shut the fuck up, Pam, and put your makeup on. So what I've liked about this when I wore it the other day is that despite how thick it is, and girl, it is thick. It is thick. It looks really nice once you have it all blended out. I used a brush the other day and to test that out. I actually filmed my first impression sort of video on this and a few other things that I'm going to show you. But are they done? Every time I try to start the video, it starts beeping again. We just put off that recording, and that's why you haven't seen a video from me this week. That and I was laying at the bottom of a well of existential despair about my job, but I'm over it. We up now. So look at that. Like, I have pretty textured skin, and granted I babied it today, but and I do have some enlarged pores over here. And it just goes on really smooth. I will say that the shade range available at my store for this was pretty good. I mean, you know, it's not ideal, it never is, but beats the shit out of the shade range that Tarte just came out with. Just saying. I don't know. I just think that brands really, they need to wake the fuck up, man. With you, because I'll tell you one thing, when you slight people of color like that, or when you slight any big group of people, they don't forget. And they shouldn't, you know? Tarte's not getting any more of my money, and that did not directly affect me. It was so gross and just such a, and like their response to just be like, oh, we didn't think about it, sorry. Like, well, maybe that's the fucking problem, asshole. So I've just put on a little bit of Infallible Pro Glow Concealer. Now, I got this last week as well, and normally you wouldn't think to put something like this over a super matte foundation, but because this area of my face tends to be the thing that looks the shittiest at the end of the day, I put this concealer on in it so you can even see it. It really just brings a little bit of life back into my face here by adding just a little bit of dewiness to the very matte Maybelline foundation. So this is a nice little romantic partnership between L'Oreal and Maybelline that I'm really enjoying. Like, look at how good these look together. And the nose is the teller of tales, you know? Listen, son. Either fucking stay out or go away. I look like I'm in a cave now. All right, we're gonna see how this wears. We're gonna check it out first. But as of right now, this is my favorite combination of foundation stuff ever. Okay, so now I'm going to use my Milani eyeshadow primer, and I'm just going to put a little bit on here because since we are going full out on the foundation, I am going to go full out everywhere else. So I have a deal document for you guys for this weekend. If you're watching this like later, you know, maybe I'll have one for this weekend for you too. As I am recording this, it is February 2nd or 3rd? What day is it? You ready to see this bitchin' e.l.f. palette? So this is the box that it comes in, and I already cracked into it, so it is in my drawer now. My only complaint is I hate these shiny packages because like you can see all of the fingerprints and stuff's kind of yucky. However, and I apologize to my darker complected friends, this is probably not for you, but they do have a blush palette that just came out, and they had very deep, beautiful shades in there. I don't know how it blends, obviously, because I didn't use it, but I can tell you that these blend really well. So if it's the same formula, you are good to go. I'm going to take this little brush right here, and I'm going to get into this contour color. This is really light, and I would normally, you know, have thought this wouldn't have worked, but it really does. It works really nice. So I put my contour down a little lower than I usually like to do it, so I'm just gonna clean it up a bit with my sponge and what's left on the sponge, which the thing about this foundation is there's always still some stuff on the sponge. So I'm gonna go in with, these colors are pretty similar. That's probably my only complaint about this palette is I feel like the blush colors are a little too similar. But this one is more pinky and this one is more peachy. I'm a peachy kind of gal, so I'm going to go into the peachy blush. And we're just going to put that right over here. Can you guys hear my cat snoring? Because I can. Now I'm going to go into the highlight shade, which is right here. And this is like so pretty. It is really it's a very natural looking highlight, so you don't have to worry about going too hard on this because it is so pretty and so natural. Like, look at that. Oh, I love it. And it's perfect for the nose highlight because you don't want to look like, you know, Rudolph the white-nosed reindeer. You want to have just a subtle little sheen on the high points of your face. And this really, God, it's just, I can't get over it, you guys. So sometimes if I think that it's going to get really bad and really dry and cakey, I will just put this into an Easter egg and take it with me in my purse, and just as throughout the day, you know, it's a little bit damp, you can just sort of touch up your face. Pro tip. I like my setting spray to really melt my makeup into my face. I want it to look less powdery and weird or whatever. Like, I want the setting spray to take what I did and take it up a notch and then keep that shit on my face. Keep it on my face. Even if I get fired from my job for a ridiculous reason and bury my face in my pillow for 2 days, I want to wake up and look like this. I'm going to use my Jeffree Star Androgyny palette today. It is a pretty beautiful palette. So we're going into Safe Word right here. These do need a little, because they are a little bit powdery. I don't mind that though. I would rather them be a little soft than too hard. That's what she said. So I'm dying over how perfect this color is on my skin tone, and I cannot believe that I don't use it more often. I'm gonna start doing that. We're going to go into this color Charm here, and this is where I'm going to put a little bit of pop of color in here. I'm gonna try to avoid this area so that I don't just blast out that nice transition color, to warm things up and give a little interest. Warm colors and like oranges and reds and browns and everything, and like grungy eye looks have been in for so long that I'm curious to see what's gonna come next, you know? Like, are we all gonna go back to cool tones? Is that the thing? I used to be a die-hard cool tones only kind of girl. I wouldn't even wear gold jewelry. Like, I just really was always like, silver, cool tones, that's my life. My hair is blue-black, rah. You're just gonna feather this out a little bit so that it will peek out from the darker shade that I'm about to go in and smoke out my eye with. I'm gonna go into Dominatrix right here, just like a nice leathery brown. And I'm just gonna fill in the outer V of my eyes. And I'm gonna do it with a light hand. I'm gonna go slow and take my time. When you're blowing out your crease and you're doing your transition colors, you don't have to be super careful. But when you're doing this, you wanna get the majority of the powder really where you want it, and then you blend the excess. But when the majority of the powder gets somewhere that you don't want it, it's gonna be super hard to blend that away. So I always try to be just pretty careful and sort of press it in for this phase. And then I'll sort of, if I want to wing it out, I'll do that with the blend. See? Not super blended, so I'm going to go back with my blender brush, which I've worked a lot of the excess color off already, and I'm just going to very gently start blending. And I'm borderline tickling my own eyeball right now because I'm taking it real light at first. So I've worked away a bit of the shadow, but in the process of doing that, I've blended out the edge so that it's not so severe. So then I'm going to go back in with my flatter brush and more Dominatrix and just press the opacity back in there. And this time I'm going to use swirling motions to sort of feather it in a little bit more. If you've gotten this far in the video, I would love to know, what is it that you struggle with makeup the most? Like, what is the thing, what is your unclimbable mountain in your head? Because like, we all think, you know, sort of lousy things about ourselves, so I'm sure that we've all got some makeup insecurities, and I want us to get them out. Let's get them out. My makeup insecurity is definitely my foundation application. I feel like I have a very hard time not looking terrible at the end of the day. And I also feel like I do the same thing with my eyeshadow too much. So I've gone back and I've added a little bit more of that orange color Charm, just because it was starting to get eaten up by the brown shadow. So I've just brought a little of it back in, and I'm gonna start working it in here a little bit. Okay. So we've got that all blended out. So now I think I'm gonna fuck with this color right here. This is called Deja Vu. I'm gonna use my finger like I always do with shiny shadows. And I'm just going to put it on the lid in the center. Okay, so frosting is the gold color, and I like to gradient my shimmers sometimes. So I'm going to put this one on the inner corner, just like that. and sort of let it just blend right into the more reddish brown gold Deja Vu. Now I'm gonna get a little wild. We're gonna grab this red color here. This is called Fetish. I'm gonna use the same brush that I used for Dominatrix. I'm just gonna give it a little rub on this hair donut here. It's a good way to just knock off excess powder from your brush. My friend Jackie, who runs the Glamour Smashed Face channel here on YouTube, she's doing a really cool niche combination of heavy metal music and makeup. So check out her channel. I'll link it up here. So I'm going into Fetish, and I'm just gonna bring this in a little bit into the corner. I'm just kind of rubbing that back and forth. This would probably be better with a smaller brush. My brushes are all so dirty that I'm just gonna try to get through with 3 brushes today. And this will be a good way for you to see that you don't need a million brushes to do stuff. If you want to know how I got the wrinkles in my forehead, you're literally witnessing it right now. I swear to God, this is what they're from. That and like the face that I make at Stupid People, which is kind of like one of these. I'm going to take a little bit of the Charm color on my fluffier brush, and I'm going to go right over and a little under that red color. Just a little bit. And all that serves to do is just blend it out and make the 2 shades around here sort of work together. So we've got a fun little smoky eye going here. Thank you, Androgyny palette. Okay, feeling good. I'm going to dip into my Femme Rosa palette from ColourPop like I always do for my inner corners, just because I've just never found another highlight that just complements literally everything I do as well as these ones. And I feel terrible because I recently found out that it is no longer made. So I'm sitting here showing you a palette you can't have. Sorry about that. It's time for eyeliner. I kind of just start at the very corner and I stick my pen in where I know the corner of my eye is, and I just flick it out real quick. And I try very hard on the other side to flick it at the same angle. That is where I struggle. One will kind of go up more and one will be more straight. Okay, so as I'm looking at this right now, it looks pretty even. So what I do is I start just before the tip. So you don't want to touch that tip because it's nice and pointy and perfect. But if you come in just below it, and then you're just going to drag your brush down. So from here I will just sort of use dabbing slow motions to fill it in. And as you can see, I slipped right below the line there, which is super annoying. So you just go in and just try to fix it. Okay, so this one I can already tell is going to be a bitch. So we're just gonna go real slow, and I can tell that felt different. This one's a little thicker, so you just sort of go slow. This is the Revlon Color Stay Liquid Eye Pen. It is their classic version. It's pretty good, actually. Like, I was a little put off at first because it's much drier than the NYX Epic ink liner that I have been using, but when I first got the Epic ink liner, I was like, this is way too like liquidy. So, you know, the lesson here is that I'm never happy. So when I start moving in, my thing is usually I don't go much past my pupil. So if you see me all the way in, I'm either making a pointed inner corner because I'm being extra fancy, or I fucked my eyeliner up. So, and for this, like, I will, a lot of times I'll just use the side of the pen and just touch it down to get my line. But, you know, you do what you do, you do what you gotta do. I'll just do the other one. So I'm just sort of touching it on the side, touching it on the side, touching it on the side, and now it's connected. And now I'm going to use the tip to just sort of dot my way inward. And I will usually come in just to the edge of the colored part of my eye that I am forgetting what it is called right now. Cornea, right? Is that your cornea? Is that your retina? I don't fucking remember. Bam! Bam. I have an hour and 10 minutes of footage on this fucking Get Ready With Me. You will probably see 20 minutes. I am like, right here just feels like there are 10,000 microscopic little cat hairs just dancing on my face, and it's fucking driving me crazy. There's literally nothing there. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. If your face is a little itchy while you're putting on makeup, just like tap it with your sponge. Don't touch your face. Never touch your face ever again. Okay, so I just flung a tiny piece of mascara onto my eyeball. So I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you a great tip that I can't remember who said it on YouTube, but I've never forgotten it. Mascara is a bit of a wax, so if you leave it for a little bit and let it dry, you can wipe it away and it will not leave a streak. So if you get mascara on you, resist the urge to immediately sweep it away. Just let it dry. Let it dry for a few minutes, and then you're gonna take like a little brush and just flick it away. So lower lashes, I'm gonna go in with my Wet n Wild Mega Length. Like I've said a zillion times, I love this because it has the tiny little bristles, and it's really easy to get in here and like fluff out those little lashes without getting mascara all over the place. The other thing I love this mascara for is getting like right in here, because you'll have all these little lashes in here that you might not have been able to grab with your chunkier mascara brushes. I think I need a little bit more on the blush. I think it just needs to be a little bit warmer. I'll take this one. This is the Burt's Bees blush, and this is in the color Toasted Cinnamon. This is a super warm, peachy kind of color, and it is very pigmented, so I'm just going to bring just a bit of that into my blush just to warm it up a smidgy. That's a little better. And then I'm going to put a little of what's left on my brush just up here. Sort of warms up the face, blends everything out a little bit. Okay. I'm going to give myself one more blast of setting spray. Oh man, Beth is selling bundles. I'm telling you, every text message I get, it's going to come in right now. Sorry, Beth, I'll be with you in a minute. Does anybody else feel like people have a timer sitting and waiting for them to respond to text messages? That could just be me, because I constantly forget to reply to people's text messages, and then I feel like a piece of shit about it for like days. And, you know, and they probably don't even think about it. Probably haven't even thought about it, and they probably sent the message and didn't even remember that I didn't reply, but I'm convinced that everyone hates me. And sometimes that paralyzes me into not responding to things, because I'm like, well, I didn't do it fast enough, so now if I do it now, they're just gonna think I'm an asshole anyway. Does anybody else do that? There's a reason I used to take a lot of medications. And then for the lipstick, we are gonna go drugstore, like a fucking drugstore. We're gonna go Wet n Wild, Old Classic, Mochalicious, part of their Megalast lip color line. It's 91.4C, and it is a lovely color that I have not worn in a century. This weekend we are getting Wet n Wild coupons, and Wet n Wild is also on promotion, again on an ECB deal. I think it's spend 10, get 5, and we are definitely getting 50-cent to $1 off coupon coming in the Smart Source this weekend. If you need a super sweet lip color, this stuff is awesome, and it stays put for a really long time. I found that Wet n Wild's mattes are really good at like staying on your face. So this is the finished look. Got makeup on her face. It's Friday. I ain't got no job. I ain't got shit to do. Well, I have a lot of shit to do. So I'm gonna go do that.